Hello, and I think we're live now. Hello, and welcome to Broadsheet on the Telly's presidential special. It's a mid-morning natter with Gemma Doherty, and after that we have Kevin Sharkey is going to join us. Kevin has pulled out of the race yesterday, and he's actually endorsed Gemma now for her nomination. But Gemma there's 9 councils left. I gather you were in Kilkenny last night, and there was a little bit of skullduggery going on there in terms of the voting, and you're in Limerick. I know that you're going to make an address to Limerick Council in about 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah, no, well, about an hour and 15 minutes. So yes, okay. Yeah. So okay. It's great to be here, John, and thanks for having me on. Yeah, we're in Limerick this morning, and then heading up to Thurles. So it's going to be a very busy day. Unfortunately, Longford is being held at the exact same time. And we've been running into this difficulty throughout this process where council meetings are being held on the same day at the same time. We had a situation there recently where 6 meetings were held on one day, and how people are supposed to be in 6 counties at the same time is beyond me, but it's very disappointing. I would like to have been in Longford today.
So you have Thurles and Longford clashing at the exact same time. What makes you decide between Thurles and Longford, for instance?
Well, it's actually Limerick and Longford.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon.
So in Limerick, I've done a lot of work on missing men, men who on Garda Síochána claim have committed suicide, whose families believe were victims of homicide. And Limerick, as we know, has a serious crime epidemic. So some of my work has been, based down here, and I have serious concerns about some of the missing men that I have written about in the past, and the fact that, it would appear they were victims of homicide. So that is why I've chosen Limerick over Longford.
Okay, and fair enough. And tell me about last night. Now, the Kilkenny County Council were making their nominations, and I understand that there was 5 for, 7 against, but 11 councillors abstained for your nomination. Is that right?
Yes, that was very disappointing, because I was sure that I would have got Kilkenny. I was getting very good feedback, and a number of contacts had assured me that Fianna Fáil would not act to block my vote. Which is unusual, to say the least. They don't seem to be doing this against other candidates. But yes, so I drove from Portlaoise, where I had a very good meeting, and I have to say the local authority in Portlaoise were very hospitable and welcoming. And I drove down to Kilkenny because I was asked to go down, and I was there for the council meeting, and was really horrified at what happened there and what Fianna Fáil did to me.
Yeah, can you explain how you were expecting the nomination? The 11 abstentions then was the issue, was it?
Yes, Fine Gael chose to abstain. I don't know. I mean, there seems to have been some backroom conversations going on, but I'm in absolutely no doubt that both of the main political parties obstructed my passage to a nomination yesterday. I spoke to a number of Fianna Fáil members beforehand. And, I'm sort of getting tired of saying this. I have nothing personally against Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael or Labour or Sinn Féin. As a journalist, I've always been apolitical. However, as a journalist, it has been my job to hold those parties to account. And it is clear to me that they don't like that, and they don't want to be held to account.
Are they saying? Yeah, are they talking privately to you about their position regarding? I mean, it's obviously a party whip. Are you suggesting that it's a Fine Gael party whip involved?
Oh yes, I've no doubt it's coming from headquarters. And before the meeting yesterday, I spoke to some of them, and I was given out to for speaking out about corruption. I was given out to for the fact that members of the public had contacted them. Members of the public were angry about the fact that Fianna Fáil were blocking me. And I was, basically reprimanded for this. I don't know who these people are ringing. And these are, they're representatives. These are public representatives. They have to listen to what the people are saying. But Fianna Fáil went in there and prevented my first nomination. And I'm really grateful to the independent councillors, to Sinn Féin and to Labour, who did support me in Kilkenny yesterday. And I have to say, Sinn Féin have been really, really supportive. And they're going against their headquarters in doing so. But they feel the public have a right to choice beyond 3 television celebrities and a Fine Gael senator, and then the incumbent, and obviously their own candidate. And I'm very grateful for that.
So in terms of the route then for a nomination, you've 9 councils left. You'll need to get 4 of those councils then for the remaining councils?
Right, yes. Yeah, well, I'm finishing my presentations on Thursday in South Dublin. Again, as a Dubliner, I'm appealing to the councillors of Dublin to at least put forward a candidate from the area, from the capital city. Not that geography matters, it doesn't. But I would have a very strong understanding of urban issues. I believe the other candidates are from rural Ireland, and I have a very good understanding of rural Ireland as well. But I'm born and bred Dubliner, and I see the crisis in housing. I see the crisis in health in our biggest hospitals, week in, week out. And I'm appealing to them. But I fear that they're going to go the same way as Dublin City Council, who behaved disgracefully.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, because a commenter has written just in now and said, asked Gemma her opinion on what happened at Dublin City Council, the whole the Bunty thing, and them just abandoning any nomination at all because of that, or presumably because of that. Was that the reason?
Yes. Yeah. Well, the whole day in City Hall, I mean, they say you'll never beat City Hall, and my goodness, it was true. But we will beat City Hall. I'm more determined than ever to beat City Hall. But as soon as we went in to our chamber, I felt there was hostility. I felt it from some of the staff in there. I felt that we were causing really an inconvenience. This is something that the councils are obliged to do every 7 years. It's not a big deal. They would say they're not obliged to do it. I would say it's their democratic duty to do it, as outlined in Bunrock na hÉireann. So we were curtailed in terms of the times of our presentation. We were limited to 5 minutes. All of the rural authorities have given us a lot longer, and they've also allowed us to do questions and answers. Dublin City Council said no questions, no answers.
Yeah, so it's 5 minutes, and how do they stop you? How do they, do they knock the gavel?
I think there was a bell, 5 minutes to present your case as to why you want to be head of state. That's insulting to the role of president, in my opinion. You can't really say, outline your manifesto, your personal, your public service, your personal background, etc. in 5 minutes. But it was all very rushed. And after the meeting,
very like the Dragon's Den almost, isn't it? It's very like a kind of a make your pitch and they'll be in or out or whatever. I mean, go on. Sorry, Gemma.
No. And then Fine Gael came in right at the end with a motion to say that nobody would be nominated. Again, I find this deeply undemocratic. It's as if that the public don't exist nearly in this process. And I've had to remind a number of councillors during the last few weeks who pays their wages and why they are there and who put them there. And also we had a situation in Sligo earlier last week where Sligo County Council said that there was to be no videoing, no recording whatsoever. And I made the point that, most Sligo people who would like to see what was happening in their chamber would be at work, and that they had a right to see their presidential candidates. But no, there was a ban on videoing in the chamber. So a lot of aspects of this process seem very shrouded in secrecy, unusual deals being done. And I think it's been fascinating for the public to watch it, because it sort of indicates what I've been saying about, the lack of accountability, the lack of transparency in this country.
The process then, Kevin Sharkey pulled out yesterday, as you know, he described it as the corruption of the councils, and that it was basically, a waste of time, and he wasn't going to be part of it anymore. Have we lost you?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Can you see me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Forgive me. There's something. You can still hear me, can you, Gemma?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, yeah. Do you feel the same as Kevin? I mean, do you feel like you want to pull out now or withdraw?
Oh, not well, I'll be in this for the long haul. I mean, it's been such a wonderful process, because I feel there's so much public support. I can't see you now, John, but the public are really wakening up to what is going on in this country. And I'm not sure if we're still live. It says live, but I can't see you, John. But I'll continue. A lot of people are saying to me, we had no idea how local authorities operated. We had no idea about the links between media and government and how that all works. And the Guardian newspaper recently did a piece about that. I mean, it takes the British press to expose corruption in Ireland and within the Irish media. So it's been a great learning curve for a lot of people.
Hello, Gemma.
Hold on.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
We're back. Brilliant.
The gremlins are at work this morning.
I know. No, there's treachery afoot, I'm sure, somewhere. But we're back. Thank you, Gemma. Sorry, you were right in the middle of. Oh yeah, the Oireachtas members. Is there a route through the senators and TDs?
I'm very optimistic that there is. Yes. Yeah, I believe the members of the Oireachtas, the independent members, now have a duty to select a candidate, an independent candidate who is not connected to the political parties, not least because of the offering that is being provided to the Irish people. We more than likely will have 3 Dragon's Den celebrities, businessmen, offering the exact same mandate, some of which to me is quite disturbing. I mean, Peter Casey wants us to be aligned with NATO. Our neutrality is one of the most important aspects of Ireland. It's so critical. We have achieved so much internationally in terms of peacekeeping and bringing peace to our island, and that somebody would be selected as he was by Fianna Fáil yesterday, who had, I think,
Kerry, wasn't it? Kerry County Council, wasn't it?
By Kerry, yes.
Yeah, by Kerry, yeah.
Yeah, by Fianna Fáil and Kerry, yes. And I was nominated there too, but unfortunately, again, they chose a Dragon's Den person.
Okay.
You know, he has said that our neutrality is irrelevant. I find that, as an Irish citizen, deeply disturbing.
Okay, I don't want to. I don't want to dwell on the sort of other hopefuls just for the moment. In terms of, I just wanted in terms of the process. For instance, do you think Peter Casey will get through on the councils? I mean,
yes, yeah, no. I mean, I believe Peter Casey was brought in as a third candidate to take my vote away. I'm not in any doubt about it.
Okay, well, I mean, it does seem that like there's a preponderance of dragons in this. There's a lot of dragons, as you say, with broadly the same manifesto or the same issues. Can I ask you about? I know Sarah Louise Mulligan and Kevin would have been pals with you on the road. Is that right? On the campaign, particularly Sarah Louise.
Well, I wouldn't say pals, but you know, you meet up at each of these meetings, and I think there was a certain amount of camaraderie. I mean, we certainly don't share the same opinions.
Yeah, no. Just in terms of bonding, and in terms of the ritual, the process that you're all going through. I mean, I know Kevin has had enough, and I'm sure Sarah Louise is at the end of her tether.
Well, I think, you know, we walk out of the council meetings and we just sort of look at each other and say, what went on there? You know, there was a brawl between Sinn Féin and Fine Gael in Waterford the other day. It wasn't Sinn Féin's fault, to be fair.
A physical fight?
No, it wasn't physical,
okay.
But it was, you know, it was very, very undignified. I felt it was offensive to the chamber. And, you know, to have to witness that on public time. And I keep making this point that the public are paying for this. And it is the public's chambers. And, you know, that these, you know, some of these very, very unruly situations are developing in.
Well, the situation with Bunty at Dublin City Council, and she was the last of the people to make an address. And the Fine Gael motion, was that prompted because of her address, or did that come prior to her address?
No, I've no doubt the Fine Gael motion was prompted because of my address and my presence there, because it's quite clear the two political parties do not want to see me getting a nomination. And there are individual members who have said to me, we'd love to see you on the ballot, Gemma. We know our parties have serious issues. But, you know, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael seem intent on destroying each other through it's an act of self-destruction by the way they have aligned in this confidence and supply agreement. And I've said it to them on a number of occasions in the last few weeks that the public are losing faith in both of your parties because you're supposed to be in opposition to each other. But that's their own fault. So, I mean, as far as that lady is concerned, I've nothing to say about her presence there. But again, I keep reminding that this is being funded by the taxpayer.
The processes, yeah. I mean, and also the councillors have been paid presumably to be there to hear your addresses. I mean, it's not
the councillors are being paid, and the councillors have a massive agenda, a workload at the moment that is huge in relation to housing and the health crisis, and they need to be getting on with that. And, you know, when we have people coming in and making a farce of the process, it's insulting to Irish democracy and it's insulting to the Irish people.
Somebody in the chat pit has asked, what are your thoughts on the, I mean, I think this is probably rhetorical in a sense, but what are your thoughts on the calls by Charlie Flanagan that Gardaí should not be photographed doing their jobs?
Look, it's, you know, I don't want to say it's yet more vindication of my manifesto. We have no accountability or transparency in this democracy anymore. You know, the behaviour of An Garda Síochána in recent days and weeks is really, really very disturbing.
Well, can I? Sorry, Gemma, I don't want to. I mean, I think vis-a-vis your speech at the Daniel Carroll Summer School regarding media corruption, the coverage of the events last Tuesday would seem to bear out a lot of what you said. I mean, the argument is not whether balaclava wearing Gardaí should be supporting these companies, security, whatever companies. The question is now whether we should be photographing Gardaí. So the media have pushed the narrative to something that's not entirely what it was about anyway.
Well, I think, you know, the sight of these men in balaclavas, foreign mercenaries, I think we could call them, is, you know, it was disturbing to a lot of citizens. And obviously then they have to clamp down on these images getting out, because a lot of citizens who maybe were on the fence about the fact that our Garda force is in disarray, a lot of citizens said, actually, this is shocking in a republic, that our police force would be guarding foreign people coming down to our republic and doing this. And, you know, we had another scene there in the last 24 hours, I believe, where the armed response unit arrived to what appears to have been a civil matter, where there were young children who have no home, who are going through enough trauma as it is because they have no home. And the armed response unit is called to what appears to have been a civil matter. Again, it's out of control. And I have no doubt that this is a form of intimidation. Intimidation, because they see that there is a lot of public anger. People are protesting. There seems to be protests nearly every day now in Ireland. There's a lot of dissent developing. And we saw what happened when the public rose up against Irish Water. You had, you know, reams of Gardaí arriving to protect water meter installers. I don't believe they had any function or purpose in doing so when we're in the middle of a crime epidemic. But An Garda Síochána really need to be very careful now that they don't lose, you know, the trust of the public. And I think they've lost.
Yeah, sorry, we spoke about Drew Harris the last time we chatted, and I was quite encouraged by his speech at Templemore and just his bearing. It seemed to be, he seemed to have a quality that was absent in the last two commissioners. But do you feel that he's been wrong-footed himself by internally within the Gardaí? I mean, he's obviously was very, very upset about the balaclavas himself. I mean, he went even further than Leo Varadkar in terms of condemning those actions as incorrect.
Well, look, my position on Commissioner Harris is he either has command of his force or he does not. This is a very serious incident that happened in North Frederick Street. He's claiming he didn't know about it. I'm sorry. You know, in Ireland, the concept of the buck stopping with the boss is it's a foreign concept. In Ireland, it doesn't really seem to apply. Now, his first few weeks in charge of An Garda Síochána have been very disappointing. He needs to take control of his force, of our force, and these incidents need to stop because it is damaging the relationship between the public and the police. And in a democracy where that relationship is broken down, I am very concerned that we may end up seeing violence on our streets, and goodness knows that is the last thing we want to see.
Okay, well, we spoke with Andrew Butler, who experienced violence last week at the removal of protesters, and another guy who suffered concussion, two gentlemen as well. But so I think that's already begun. We're going to have Kevin Sharkey who's going to join us. Now, Kevin's left the race, very depressed about the nomination process, as you are. What's keeping you going?
Well, I don't do depression. I don't have a depressive bone in my body, thankfully. So I'm not depressed about it. I'm very pleased that the public, because I know that many people are contacting me day in, day out, and they're saying to me, We had no idea how bad it was. And so for me, this process, if I fail to get the nomination, for me, it has produced an awakening in Irish society to the sleeping Irish who believe everything is all right and we have to accept all of this abuse of our rights, and that's okay. That's how Ireland works. It's the way it always worked. We don't have to accept abuse of our rights. And this is happening on a daily basis. So I am delighted that this process has woken people up to how this country is being run and how it's being run into the ground. And I will continue until the final day next week. I am very hopeful to get a nomination through the Oireachtas. I'm still very hopeful. I've been nominated in Tipperary today, and I am urging Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael in Tipperary not to block my nomination. I believe the public need an independent candidate. We have Labour, we have Fine Gael, we have numerous Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael. I'm not sure, the Dragons seem to switch, and we have Sinn Féin. Why no independent candidate?
Can I ask you just opinion on Leah Nariada, the Sinn Féin candidate? Are you familiar with her, or have you met her?
I don't know Leah, no, but she seems like a great person, and I'm delighted that Sinn Féin have entered the race. I was down recently in her neck of the woods in Coolay, in beautiful Coolay, where I was honoured to be given an award as a hero of storytelling as part of her dad, Sean O'Riada's festival down there. And, she's a great Gaeilgeoir and has done so much for the language. And has worked very hard in Brussels. So it's great to have a candidate of her calibre. I don't know a lot about Leah, but I certainly believe she has more to offer than the other candidates, no disrespect to them.
Okay, Gemma, we're going to have to leave you because I'm going to try and get a hookup with Kevin Sharkey. I just wanted to talk to him about why he has pulled out, and he got a lot of stick as well during his campaign. But anyway, we're going to have to chat with him. Gemma, maybe we can speak to you tomorrow or the next day and see how you're getting on. How Thursday is South Dublin Council, isn't it?
Thursday is South Dublin, yeah.
Well, what time on Thursday, Gemma?
I need to check the times actually. So I think it's in mid morning, but I need to check. Yeah, so it's just a hectic schedule at the moment.
Okay. Well, we're going to speak to also Sarah Louise Mulligan as well. So maybe we'll speak to you before that meeting if possible, and we'll have a better picture of where you are in terms of what's going to happen today. To Limerick, you're going straight to Limerick now. How long is your address there? Do you have a 5-minute?
It's 10 minutes and then 5 minutes question. But I have to say, some of the rural local authorities they've really, made an effort, and they've made us feel welcome. I mean, the administrative staff, I'm not sure we received a great welcome in Dublin last week, but certainly in rural Ireland, the welcome has been very friendly.
Great. Well, we'll hopefully see you then on Thursday here on Broadsheet on the telly. But best of luck today, and keep in touch with us anyway on the site. Okay.
I will indeed. Thanks very much, John.
Thank you very much, Gemma. Thanks a lot. We're going to try and thank you very much, Gemma. We're going to try and hook up with Kevin Sharkey now. That was Gemma O'Doherty. She's presidential hopeful. There's 9 councils left. Hopefully, she'll get 4 nominations, and if not, there's 20 Oireachtas members who will be able to endorse her if she can get their support. So anyway, thank you for joining us. We'll have Kevin in a bit. Thanks. Bye now.